Hi everyone, good morning to this special panel at 𝐓𝐨𝐭𝐚𝐥 Europe from the Johan Cruyff Stadium. I think it's the perfect place to honor one of football's great minds and players and managers. My name is 𝐓𝐨𝐨𝐭𝐚𝐥. I had the pleasure and honor of working for both Ajax and FC Barcelona, two clubs forever shaped by Johan Cruyff's vision. 9 years ago, we helped launch the Johan Cruyff official Instagram account, helping preserve Johan Cruyff's legacy. And to this day, we still manage with our agency, Double Tap, that very account. So always trying to find innovative ways, like AI tributes and anniversary content to keep his ideas alive. And with me today, I'm joined by two superstars. Can I say that, Ronald? Superstar?
You can say that,
yeah?
but I don't feel like a superstar.
No. A Champions League winner with Ajax, part of the club's golden generation, and someone who continues to shape talent also at the Ajax Academy, Ronald de Boer. He also made his debut under Johan Cruyff at Ajax, which is a very nice detail. On the other side, all the way from Portugal, the Portuguese playmaker who brought elegance to both Ajax and Atletico Madrid, and also wearing the iconic number 14 for both club and country. Dani da Cruz Carvalho,
yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Cool. So let's jump straight in. I want to speak first about that number. So the number 14, which is a little bit special.
Yeah.
You both wore it, also at club and country yourself as well, also at Rangers and also at Ajax.
Yeah.
What does that number mean to you, like personally? Did it inspire you, pressure?
I think the number 10 is special, especially nowadays, maybe a little bit less, but before, I think 20 years ago, the number 10 was the playmaker. Everybody wants to wear the number 10, but also the number 14, especially in Holland, Johan Cruyff, the biggest player, I think, lived in Holland, but I think some will say maybe the best player ever played the game. And that number, yeah, when Johan was wearing it, that was so special, so everybody wanted to wear that one. Now, you just mentioned it, I made my debut on the Johan Cruyff when I was just 17 years old, and I came in, and fortunately I also had the number 14 wearing. It's not allowed anymore because due to respect of Johan Cruyff, nobody can wear the number 14, but at that time, that rule was not existing, so I was wearing that, and so there's still video content that when I made my debut, he's standing next to me, Johan Cruyff, and I'm wearing the number 14. That's special. And when I went to Rangers from Barcelona, I could choose a number, but you can't choose any number because some already given away, and they had some numbers, but also number 14 was lying there. So. Yeah, then it's for me obvious that number, is special for me. So I was wearing that, and for me that gives you a little bit of a lift. It makes you a little bit stronger. Sometimes a mind can do strange things. So although it maybe helps you 0.1%, it can still make a difference sometimes.
Yeah, and Dani, you as well, also number 14, both at national team, at Atletico, at Ajax as well. And I think especially the Ajax one, you have a special anecdote, no?
Yeah, good morning everyone. Thank you 𝐓𝐿𝐴𝐭𝐚𝐥 for inviting us. Thank you, and what an amazing event and fantastic organization, we have to say that. Saying that, can you imagine when I come from Portugal and then I arrive at the team as Ajax, they won everything for 4 or 5 years, from 1995. I think they won everything. And I was 18, almost 19 or something like that, and then I came into the first team and I was seeing all these guys. And after a couple of months I played my first game, and Johan was commenting the game, and then he said, this guy looks like me, and I was like, what? I mean, what a responsibility, but at the same time, what a huge compliment. So the responsibility was there, even that I didn't knew the story as well as a Dutch guy, or every Dutch person, but I understood it, I've learned it, and it was something that went with me. The details of his passion for football, his thoughts about football, about leadership, about how you could lead a team into your main objective, you know, and that was always present. I could see that with Ajax, I could see that with these guys, you know, the way that we had Van Gaal, and we had other coaches, but yeah, the biggest impact that I had was some of the guys that I'm still friends with, like Ronald, and also with Louis van Gaal, and that stays for life. That means a lot, you know, and that came from the time of the 70s with 𝐓𝐨𝐭𝐚𝐥 𝐅𝐨𝐨𝐭𝐛𝐚𥥥 and Johan Cruyff. So I think he was able to perpetuate his way of seeing football, but also the friendship that becomes part of the football and that you can see on the pitch, but that you can see also off the pitch.
Yeah, Ronald, so let's go back to the moment when you made your debut.
Yeah.
How was he like as a coach? What stayed with you from that time?
He was fearless, and I think we have to go back again in the near future, because I think what in my time was it when, for example, a left winger was injured from the first team and there was nobody available. You look down to the, now it's called like the under 19 or maybe under 18. You call the head coach of them and you tell him, bring the left winger and he's going to play on Sunday. And that was basically what happened with me. There was an injury in the front, and I was like the backup. And somebody gets injured during the game, and he's not afraid to push youngsters forward. And because he believes in the I philosophy, and so he gave me he said to me, just enjoy it. Go on the pitch, because you're 17, so you're full of nerves. And I still remember that game as the day of yesterday, because I came in, we were leading 4-2, and when I came in 10 minutes it was 4-4, so I thought, oh, it's probably my fault, as a youngster, the impact. But I scored, as also what happens normally with a young striker, number 9, when he makes his debut, he scores with his debut. Unfortunately, I also scored with my debut. I scored a 5-4. At the end, we won 6-4, so it was incredible for me, debut. And then the next day, he came to me, because he says a lot of people will want something from you, like sponsors or whatever. He says, Ronald, it is not important. Just your shoes are your tools, so just play with the shoes that you like, because that at that time, like 500 guilders, looks a lot of money, he told me, because I was 17, but he believed me, when you really become a good player, that money is nothing, but it will, sorry, it will add, like when you're 10 years further, then you will earn the big money, of course. So those small things, don't go for shoes that you don't like, just play on the shoes that you like, and that helps you further in your career, because not at this moment is not important. So these little details for me that, yeah, was amazing. And I met him, of course, many times afterwards. And what the great thing about Johan is, in my eyes, that he was a superstar. Don't forget it. He was a big superstar. Everybody recognized him, but he was always so down to earth. It's unbelievable. Very humble. And that, for me, that was one of the biggest thing that I respect for, got respect for him. That although everybody wants something from him, he always stayed humble, and that is, I think, the biggest gift, I guess.
Yeah, and I think also those values he passed on to his players and everyone around him. Danny, you came from Portugal.
Yes.
How difficult was it to adapt to a new playing style, but also the mindset? Did you have to learn new things or unlearn as well, some new things?
Yeah, you have to unlearn, lose a lot of...
like what?
Like for example, I always give this example when I'm in situations like this, in talks like this. We had a lot of players in Portugal in the national team, and they all had a lot of individual quality. While here in Holland, that individual quality was the basis for your collective game. Okay, you can be creative, you can do your own actions, but do it thinking that you're going to help the team, Not that you're going to help yourself or that you can do something by yourself. That can happen once in a while, or maybe in 4 or 5 football players that we have in the history of football. Maradona, Johan Cruyff, Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, things like that. But those are a few. So most of us, we have to understand, and that was the mentality of Ajax, do the actions considering the team. Not thinking about yourself or what you can do by yourself. No, thinking about the team. And in that way, for example, the passes that you can do for your colleague, do it to help the colleague. Don't throw the ball through the air. Don't throw the ball full of spins or something like that, you know, because you're not helping your colleague. You're helping the opponent, because once you have to give 2 or 3 touches at the ball so you can play it, that you're going to lose a couple of seconds, and that's going to be the opportunity of your opponent. Another thing that I saw also with, it happened to me also, not with Johan Cruyff, later with Van Gaal, but the situation and the idea of football was the same. So I was playing on the second team, you know, because yeah, that was normal once you didn't play on the weekend, or you played only 20 minutes, and on Monday you were playing for the second team. And then the coach called me to the first team for a Champions League game. And he came to me in the room and he spoke with me, and the idea, what Ronald was talking, that he was called from the under 17, 18, 19, it's something that Ajax prepared the players. It's not luck. We don't just arrive at the first team and we play an amazing game and we can score, or we can fight and have the strength if we are losing. You know, we are prepared for that. The players are prepared for that. There's an idea of teaching and passing the message to these young players so they can be ready when they arrive at the first team. A couple of years ago, the Ajax played against Sporting of Lisbon, my team in Portugal, and first they played the under 19, and they lost 4 or 5-0, something like that. And the guys from Sporting, they were like, yeah, we won 4 or 5-0 from Ajax. Later tonight, in the first team, we're going to do the same. They lost 5-0. You know, the oldest player of Ajax in the youth game was 16. You know, that's the big difference. When he becomes 18 or 17, 18, he's going to be ready to play for the first team. You know, that's the main idea also, not the main, but one of the biggest and strongest ideas that I find with, that I meet with Ajax, and that I really, really recognize, and I say I'm really proud to be part of the history of Ajax because of that.
It's funny, like what you say, Danny. For example, when I played from Ajax and I went to Barcelona, and they always ask me, hey, what is the better team? And if I tell you all the names from Barcelona at my side, with Rivaldo, Figo, Guardiola, Kluivert, my brother, me,
Frank, your brother also?
Sergi, Bourgawan, great players. And then you put, like, for example, the Ajax team next to it, my team in 95, 96, 97. Then you would directly say, about 2 Golden Ball winners, Figo and Rivaldo, you would directly say Barcelona better team. But I tell you, because I say team, and that makes the difference.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Within 95, 94, 95, 96, I tell you, we were a better team than Barcelona, because we had at every aspect we could make a difference. If it didn't work with on the left side, we could do it on the right. But really, like a team, everybody was having a part at the success. And I think in Barcelona was toch a little bit more individual. They were great players. Don't get me wrong. For me, Rivaldo, Figo, unbelievable. But I think as a team, and we can see it nowadays with Paris Saint-Germain, of course, with all the big stars.
Finally.
And now they're in the final. Everybody says, what a team. And Neymar is not there, Messi is not there, Mbappé is not there. And how can they be so strong then? Yeah, they play just a little bit more like really like a team. And sometimes you need only one captain on the ship. I think that is, you see it more and more. But at our time, we had our captain basically was Frank Rijkaard. He came back from Milan. and he was our anchor. He sometimes grabbed you and kept our feet on the ground, but I think that makes I think still a difference. And that feeling that I had, what you were saying, as a team playing, we felt that from growing up. I came as a 13-year-old boy from Ajax, and you know exactly what's being expected as a midfielder or as a striker. When, for example, I was a number 9 in the first place. At the end, I convinced Van Gaal to become a right midfielder, but took some conviction, believe me. But you know exactly as a number 9 what to be expected at that role. So that's why sometimes we lose that philosophy a little bit, and now it's coming back again. That when you have a right winger or what's that, right fullback is injured, take the youngster, put the youngsters in. You see it now also with Barcelona, the youngsters coming through, and I think we have to go back to that philosophy, and that's what made us, so strong.
Great.
You wanted to add
Great.
something quickly, Danny, on this?
No, I was just saying to support what Ronald was saying about Barcelona. Rivaldo, he wanted to play in his own position,
Yeah, on number 10,
on number 10, and he didn't want to play as a left wing, you know, and he had some problems with the coach. Figo, he wanted a new contract. He wanted to earn as much as Guardiola, I remember, and then he left to Real Madrid. You know, that's the mentality of a bunch of guys that are playing in a team or a team.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
So let's speak about total football. Total football, I mean, the Dutch are known for it. In the 70s, everyone is speaking about it. Should have won, could have won two World Cups. Unfortunately, they didn't. What is still the foundation of modern football? Do you still think like many clubs and many teams like hold the same philosophy, or do you think it has become a bit modern?
No, football evolves, it changes. I see when what you told me, I work with under 15, 16, 17 and 19 3 times a week with Ajax at the Ajax Academy, and I see the changes. I mean, you can't stand still. Also with the youth and what they do already now on that age, like a 16, 17-year-old boy, that's incredible. That's totally different like when I was 16, 17 years old. So you have to keep up. But I think one thing stands always out. Basically what Johan always said, when we have the ball, they don't have the ball. So that is basically still like when you have, are you so good on the ball, and that technique, the quality, your brain, because that is one of the most important things. We at Ajax now we try to get smart players again. If you say you have to do that, I tell also the boys, hey, we can say everything tell you what to do, but at the end, when the ball is lying here or a ball is lying there, it's a totally different situation. You have to adapt to that, and that's, hey, you have to use your brain. And so we want to pre-program those players. Now we want to make smart players again, and that was what was Ajax about. Hey, you adapt to the situation, but you had already the foundation where, with your skills when you're young, the dribble, playing on the streets, those skills you have. But then, of course, it starts to what Dani said, to play with a team, but making good choices. And I think that is what we still now have to really put into the youngsters, and that's that belief that. What we had, the Ajax DNA, we call it. Some people will say, Ajax DNA, what is it? But I think that is basically a little bit that, playing with your brain, playing as a team, technical football, keep the ball at the right moments. When you know there's an opportunity, you go for it. But I think all those things we implemented with the youth, and I think it's going the right direction again, because we had some years that I think we wanted to do things too quickly. When you have a right fullback injured or is not performing well, we look overseas. I think we have to stop doing that. You see it now so many times with youngsters. When you give them a chance, they have the learning ability to adapt quickly. But we are too eager now, and that's why I think we're also in that situation at Ajax last year. We were too eager to, because we had so much success. We want to keep that, and we say in Holland like. when a cat is scared, he's going to jump everywhere, and that was basically what Ajax was. They wanted to do quickly, to change it quickly. But when you do things quickly without thinking, you're gonna make mistakes, and that is what happened. Now it's back, I think, to where we stand for, and that is the Johan Cruyff philosophy that is still swerving, highly around in here, but also at the toekomst.
Yeah, let's get to the philosophy in a bit. Danny, you played at Atletico too. Atletico, it's a club known a little bit, I wouldn't say for necessarily defensive playing style, but more of strong defensive discipline. Everyone works hard for the team, etc., etc. How did that contrast with when you came from Ajax, with the movement, the freedom?
Totally different.
Yeah?
Totally different. Completely different. A way of seeing football, a way of training, a way of educating the youth. It transforms completely the idea that you had with football, or of football here with Ajax. With Ajax, it was this what Ronald was saying: associative football. You know, make an association with your colleagues and make an association with the kind of game that you want to play. That's the main idea of the football with Ajax, or one of the main ideas. When you play for a team like Atletico Madrid, everything changes. Total football doesn't exist because you don't have the players for it. You don't educate the players since they are 10, 12, or you don't have the philosophy as a team, the president, the vice president. What do they want? They want results straight away. So if they want results straight away, they buy the players once they're made. So then you have 22 or 23 players that each one of them has their own idea of football, has their own main thought about what he wants for that situation, for that year. And then either you have 3 or 4 leaders at the team that can convince the rest of the group to fight for that idea and fight for the objective of the season, or you don't win anything. That's why Atletico Madrid, it's always close, but they never win, or rarely.
And Ronald, we just mentioned Cruyff's philosophy. I think that's also why we're here today, and why this panel is what this panel is. How much of it is still visible at Ajax today?
No, what I just told you, we have a new board, and I think we throw a little bit, our identity away the last few years. What I said, we want to stay on the top, and you have to be humble in that sense. I think we are a great club, especially seeing the history, but we can't compete with the big leagues, and you have to respect that, and it's not a problem. But I think we wanted to stay there, and I think that they took a lot of risk, and for example, last year, getting 12 players you probably didn't know. Of course, they had maybe the talent, but it was risky, and everybody got a 5-year contract. So I think the management was totally wrong. And now we have a new management. They go back to the Ajax philosophy, to the Johan Cruyff philosophy. They really highly believe what we have done the last decades, that it still can work out. Of course, with what I said, with the new technology, what we know with science, all those things, we have to also go along with that. But still, the identity, and you see it with what I just said with Paris Saint-Germain, but also now with Barcelona. You can make somebody faster or stronger, but the ball will always go faster, and your brain is always faster. Take Pedri. If he's probably sitting, he walks by, you think, is that a football player?
Gavi.
Gavi.
Yeah.
He's
small,
and it's still like those qualities can make a difference, and that is what we are going for again. And I feel already the change at Ajax this year. It's more professional, more like the idea where we want to go. What I said, getting smart players again. That is, I think, the key. When you get somebody the ball, he knows what to do with it. And we had guys programmed a little bit. We say it and they do it. But that is not like what Johan Cruyff wanted. He wants that you use your brain and every moment that you have to think what's going to be the next step, what's going to be the, what I do that, maybe if I just run there, Dani will be free. All those little things. And now most of the time we are only thinking about ourselves. Now I want the ball. I want to make a difference. It's also a bit in the society that we live in. Everybody, I see it with the youngsters. They make a good action. They put it on TikTok or on Instagram, and you think, oh, what a great goal or whatever. But the other 88 minutes he played terrible. You don't see that, and that's the perspective what we live in a little bit, and we want to, get out of that a little bit.
Ronald, you as a coach and a mentor, how do you teach those young players to think like, let's say, a total footballer, to have everything in mind?
No, I give my experience, of course, and what it takes to be a professional football player, because first of all, I always say to the boys, listen, if to being a professional football player would be that easy, everybody will be a professional football player. Everybody want to. So it's only for a few, because everybody wants it, and it's only for a few, because we say with a generation, like the under 17 generation, for example, only maybe 1 or 2. And maybe you're lucky when you have an exceptional generation, maybe 3 will make it. And then we have to talk about Champions League level or Ajax level or whatever, superstar. That's also a difference. So it's only 1 or 2. And then I tell those guys, who's going to be? Is it you? You? Because everybody wants it. But you know it's already that 90% won't make it. So that I try to put the mirror in front of them and realize that it can be over that quickly, of course, that you have to give everything. And that is what I think, because I've seen it, it can go quickly out of your hands, and I think that is one of the important things. And of course, I give my ideas about how I see football, and I think that really lies close to what Johan believes. I always think about having the ball, and maybe it's sometimes maybe a little bit naive, but I think we can make the difference when we have the ball, and that is always my philosophy, and it will always will be that. How can we control the ball and control the game, and from there on score goals? And that's what we had always, or that's why we had so much success in our time.
Yeah, Dani, in Portugal, the big three, Porto, Benfica, Sporting, they're known for their positive football, right?
Yes.
How do they look at the Dutch football school and the Cruyff philosophy?
A lot of them are influenced by Mourinho. In the beginning, was influenced by total football, by Johan Cruyff's idea. Jorge Jesus, that won a lot of things with Benfica, had success. Now
Got to finals.
Last year, one of the finals, but had a lot of success and is quite a recognized coach. And all the players love the way he works, and he was influenced by Johan Cruyff. He spent some time at Barcelona. Ruben Amorim went to the University of Johan Cruyff in Barcelona. A lot of the guys are influenced. And Mourinho, for example, when he worked with me at Benfica in the beginning, we had the first trainings, and he wanted to do the same kind of trainings that we did it with Ajax, that he did it at Barcelona with Louis van Gaal, with Bobby Robson, with the idea of Cruyff as total football. And I remember that we were trying to do some of the exercises, and the guys were doing it terribly. Terrible. They couldn't do it. They just couldn't do it, from South America, players from other countries where they didn't have the ability to do those exercises well. And with the speed and with the control of the ball, they couldn't do it. So he was like, okay, I have to change it. I just can't do it with these guys, And later in life, we spoke about it, and he said, at that moment, I didn't have the players. Later, in some clubs, I had the players, so I tried to do it. But you can't do it everywhere. It's not just you go there and you have a little waving thing and you say, okay, let's play like that. Yeah?
It's funny that you tell this, because my brother Frank, probably you know him, he been coach of Inter Milan. And we did always the passing and position games at Ajax, and that was from an incredible level. And we always say, like, if you play 3 against 6, the 3 in the middle, if they would touch it one time, they were lucky. And and also the position game, 5 against 5 or 6 against 6, they were a really high level. And when my brother became manager of Inter, he tried also to implement that. And it was and he told me, he said, oh, it's unbelievable. They can't pass the ball just 2-3 meters to each other. It's like those little things that you think for us so normal, they can't do. They can't do it. But he says the funny thing is, if there is a game, and they just, I don't know, the switch goes on, and they play a sort of football. They think, hey, they can do it. They in a certain way more like on intuition or something. But not like if you ask them really like control the training, it looks terrible, and that is a little bit similar to that. You have to have the players for it, and it's also how you educate your team basically, or the philosophy.
That education that you're talking about. I remember when I came in the first trainings, and I was always in your group and with Frank. Because I wanted to be with the best, and you guys were passing the ball, and I was trying to control it, and the ball was running away from me, and I was like, yeah, I thought I was quite a good player, but no, I couldn't do it. The ball was just against my feet, right or left, and it was going 2-3 meters. So it was like, what? How difficult is this? So then your body, you have your mind, your mindset, your body. You have to use everything in every action if you want to do it correctly.
The only thing is that because now I say like Inter is they're playing the final. It's more like for me they are leading more roads to Rome to success. So it's not only the Ajax way more, but I think for me, the most beautiful football is like what Johan Cruyff had in his mind, the total football. If you now, coming back now to if you see Paris Saint-Germain or Arsenal or City at a good time, but now again Barcelona. With Barcelona a few years now, you thought, I will skip it. Maybe I see only the replay. But now you want to see every minute again from Barcelona because it's exciting to watch. And that is always what.
And you don't want to see. And you don't want to see Manchester City.
At the moment,
no, exactly.
But before, yes.
Exactly.
I think
before,
that is the difference now a little bit. And I think football is also entertainment. We want to be entertained, and I think that is what always stands high in Dutch football. Also, not only with Ajax. I think that DNA, what Gijs already said, is also with the first.
He said it. Johan Cruyff said it when he arrived at Barcelona. He said, I don't promise titles, but I will promise a spectacle.
Yeah.
A spectacle.
He always said, we can concede 4 goals, but we make sure we make 5. That is the most important thing. And I think that is still what we have a little bit. We are a stubborn country in Holland, he knows that. But we believe in that we can still do it.
No, and another nice example was this year when they pulled up a quote from Johan, which he said, I'd rather win 5-4 than 1-0. And it was the game Barcelona against Benfica.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was another perfect example of his philosophy. Yeah. You just mentioned a few names. You mentioned Luis Enrique, Arteta. Yeah. There's also managers like Pep, Erik ten Hag, now Hansi Flick is also like doing a nice job. I think also all comes from like Cruyff's legacy. Who do you think is the best one to carry that torch today?
I think Pep, of course, he was so close to Johan, because that always also says something about Johan Cruyff as a manager. Because if you see Guardiola, I play with him. I think most of you will be faster in the midfield than Pep at that time. But he had such a vision, Pep Guardiola. It was a joy to play with him because he could extend his passing game so well. So he knew if I wait a little bit, even he was almost under pressure, he knew because he was the number 6 basically, like the Busquets role. And he was waiting, and in the right moment he knew when that happened, the run, he will be free. And then in the last moment he gave the pass so perfectly. And he skipped like 2-3 stations, and you could go on. And he was so smart in that. And Johan saw already that, because when he made his debut, you thought
he went to pick him
How
up.
is it possible that that boy can play on
He,
the number 6?
he picked him up from La Masia.
Yeah.
Where
Masia,
La Masia, yeah, La Masia, potato.
Portuguese, eh?
Yeah, and he went to the youth academy of Barcelona, and he said, okay, why isn't that player, why isn't that kid playing above? Because he's so good. No, but he's really small. He's thin. He's he will never make it. No, bring it. And that's how Guardiola started his
And now you see,
career.
that's why I think Guardiola has such an admiration for Johan Cruyff. He spoke so much with him about tactics because he needed that tactic. Otherwise, he wouldn't survive, of course, Guardiola in that force in the game. And so, and that's the beauty. You see that he has the idea. Pep also said once, you can't have enough midfielders in the game, he always said. So you have the ball, control the ball, play like him. And you see the football that he played. But you see it now also with Miguel Arteta, who also came from the youth of Barcelona, but of course worked many years with Guardiola. The same influence. Luis Enrique, of course, with Barcelona. All players, all ex-players who play the game have an idea. We want to play in a certain way that is attractive, and I'm very grateful that they are doing this kind of style, because sometimes you look to I mean, all due respect to other teams, but for me, football, what I say it again, it's also entertainment. You want to be entertained, and I think they're doing a great job.
Yeah, so we mentioned it as well. Like football, I think now 2025 has changed a lot. Like all the teams have much more resources, data. Everyone is physical. Everyone is tactically prepared. There are no secrets anymore. I mean, we see the Premier League. It's like a super league where everyone is just made out of super players as well. If Johan Cruyff was managing in 2025. How do you think you would approach the game with everything, with the speed, the data, with everything at his hand?
I think he will use it because he was smart enough. But he also, he says, it's how do you call it? Additional. It will support me, but it mustn't take over the role as a football player. You still have to think. And what I said, every situation is different. When the ball is here or there, you have to make the right decision. And I think that is still for him the most important thing. And the ball will always run faster than every player in the world. And those things. And of course, he will look to specific quality. Like 𝐓𝐨𝐿 Stoichkov also, he had special quality. He had the speed. So you need always, I always say, weapons in the team. And in our time we had Overmars, we call them Speedy Gonzalez. It's always nice to have players who are so quick, and you have creative players behind it, but you also have the Kantés, in our time the Edgar Davids. So you need a group of different qualities. And I think he understands that also. He won't play a centre back who's 120, of course, height. No, of course he's smart enough to think, okay, I need strong player, maybe also fast, but also the most important thing, you have to play the ball to the right color. That is still his philosophy, because he would never play a player who can't. Because I remember he bought. Don't remember his name, but he played for the Dutch team. Ronald Spelbos, guys knows him, and he was brought to Ajax, and he was basically a typical defender, strong, very tall, not very fast, but very strong and very hard. But when he, under 1 year of Johan Cruyff, all the build-up started with him, because Johan told him really. I want you to take initiative to play the ball, wait, like what I said with Guardiola, just play the ball in. If it goes wrong many times, I just want you to do that. And he became a national team player because of that, because of the philosophy of Johan. And I think that says something about Johan Cruyff.
And what's more important for a goalkeeper, to stop balls or to start the attack?
Yeah, that is also something. I mean, nowadays, if you see Rafa from Arsenal, you see... even Courtois, he's playing the game. They think, he can still play a decent position game. You have to especially with teams who are having the ball, you need goalies also to start the build-up from the behind. And Johan was the first. We had
Everyone plays, right? Everyone.
What they call Jan Jongbloed. He was in 1974. Everybody. He was not the best goalie, but Johan wanted to play with him because he said he can play the ball to us quickly. He understands the game, and Stanley Menzo in our time, he was maybe not the best goalie, but football-wise, he was like a sort of libero. Yeah, really started to use the goalie as a sort of startup of the build-up. And nowadays, you see more and more. And for example, I witnessed from close, like for example, Rafa from Arsenal, how cool he is, how patient and how controlled, and with no fear. When somebody is running to him, he plays the ball. He can play a really decent precision game.
Yeah, Danny, how important is it we preserve Johan's legacy?
Yeah, very important. I think the spectacle of the game is it has to maintain. If you see in nowadays with Instagram and TikTok and things like that, kids, they see things on their phones, on their iPads. It's like a minute. So if you want people to sit on the stand, to come to the games or watch it at home on television, you have to give them a good show. You have to promote football. How do you promote football? You have to have fair play, you have to have the rules, but at the same time, you have to show something on the pitch that people are going to love it. If you don't make it a big show, a big game, if you don't have amazing actions, amazing football, fun football, if you don't have games like the Inter Milan against Barcelona, those two games, that's what football is all about. Goals, trying to score. The game it doesn't end until the referee whistles. Because it's what we have to promote. We shouldn't be promoting defending or kicking the opponent. We have to be promoting the total football, having the ball, the controlling the game. To don't have to run 40 or 50 meters when you lose the ball. No, try to win the ball where you lost it. You're more close to the goal. You're more close to make a difference in your opponent. So I think that's the main idea of football in nowadays and for the future. Otherwise, we are going to be losing a lot of
we didn't
players.
mention that basically what you just said, the 3-5 second rule that is still implemented in the use of Ajax, but now you see it's still a lot of teams. Barcelona does it again, unbelievable. I was there at Dortmund and I was sitting like this and I see Fermin Lopez, I see Rafinha. If you see them when they lose the ball, how they chase it in 3 seconds, unbelievable that reaction. And that is really the philosophy of Johan. He really started that, and I think that is, for us, still much alive. What Johan brought into the football.
And to close this off, so you both live this philosophy. Both wars is legendary number 14. If you would have to describe Johan Cruyff to, let's say, a young football fan from now who mainly consumes football through TikTok, and explain who Johan Cruyff was, what would you say?
Yeah, a changed gamer, or how do you call it? He changed the game. He made football look easy, but entertaining and gracious. Because he was also a beautiful player to watch. It wasn't, although he was strong. Don't forget, he had great legs, but he did everything on technique, and he was. If we talk about total, he was fast. His technique was unbelievable. He could head. He had a vision, he could pass left and right, so he had everything. So for me, you would say Superman, but if you talk about total football, he was total football.
Danny?
Yeah, I would say very intelligent human being, a very intelligent football player, very elegant, with an open mind and a capacity to observe and also to fulfill the minds of the people that were around him. He always wanted to pass a message. If you would meet him in a corridor, he had always a word of affection and also a word of not controversial, but to challenge you. He always wanted to challenge you. Why did you do this? Why didn't you do this or that way or this way? You know, so challenge your brain. So do that, challenge your brain in a day-by-day life, and at the same time, believe in yourself. Have the confidence to believe in yourself. Work for it, of course, but have a lot of confidence and believe in yourself.
He's also a genius. I want to finish off with, it's about Dani. There is a book, it's called Hard Grass, and there was one little
Quote.
No, quote. It was like a sentence, and it's about your goal. And you read the whole sentence about how that goal happened, and you think, who the hell? Who's writing that? It's ridiculous, crazy. It doesn't make sense. It's like from a 2-year-old, 3-year-old kid. And then they said underneath that these were the exact words after from Johan Cruyff when Dani scored a goal against 3-2 against Atletico Madrid. That unbelievable goal of you. But he was so crazy about that goal because it was for him. It was like he saw probably things that we didn't see what he was doing, and Johan was analyzing that game. But it went left and right. But it was amazing. And yeah, that is also Johan. Sometimes he's how do you call it? Unchaseable in his words.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the wonderful chat, gentlemen. Thank you, Dani. Thank you, Ronald. And thank you guys for listening from the Johan Cruyff Arena.
Thank you.